but let's give us another shot. So Jagex released a big poll, or not big poll, but a big blog regarding all the different things that they want to do to make Chambers of Xeric a nice and fun experience. So this is just going to be all around the board for new players and for max F players. This is great. This is fantastic. I read through it earlier before I had to go to work, but I wasn't able to make a video because I had work. So I'm out of work now, and here we are. I gotta give you a rundown of who I am for anyone that's new. I am a Chambers of Xeric no life. I have like 6,000 KC in the content, CMs, and normal chambers combined. So I think I have an idea of how these changes will affect both max F and normal players. But other than that, let's jump right into it. So they start off by talking about Chambers of Xeric scouting and scaling, which I think are overall good changes. My only concern is the whole you have to pay money for it, because then it's like there isn't really much incentive to do scouts through this, like, or buying your scouts. Like there's no incentive to use money if it's too expensive when you're like a noob or an Iron Man. So this is just like a main locked update. So obviously the mains are gonna be happy. It's just like the other accounts are gonna be like, this sucks. This really sucks. So yeah, I'm not sure what the solution is gonna be for that. I think they asked about it in the survey, because there is a survey that you can take, and I already took the survey. So if you want to give them their thoughts, yeah, go in the survey and go do that. Anyway, let's get into the actual meat and potatoes of this video. So the actual changes. So they start off with the general changes. Energy, they just want to put a bunch of stamina pools around. I think that's good. Less need for stamina. Speed up growth time for Buchu, Gulper, and Nox. So here's the thing, you can typically just humidify while you wait for your plants to grow, but I feel like this is an update that's really nice for people who team prep or for masses. So this is great. Now this one's really good, okay? Letting everyone see potion drops, I think, is fantastic, because that's how it works for irons. That's not how it works for mains. In a mass setting, I can see this being bad because people are going to try to sneak pots. But in a team setting, this is fantastic, because now it's like everyone can kind of plan out who grabs what potions. It doesn't matter who does the most damage. One of the most frustrating things as prep in, like, say, challenge mode 5s is prep gets kill, and now someone has to run back for potions if you don't get 2 overloads. No longer a problem. I think this is great. This also affects Muttadile a bit, because, again, if prep ends up getting the kill on the big mutt, then they can't insta start on, because that is a max F strategy too. So I think letting people plan out who's going to grab the pots every time is great. I think it's really good. And this is just a change for, you see this in TOA, you see this in top, drop pots, people can see it. I think it's good to, you know, carry this over to CoX. So yeah, this is great. Because now it's like, oh, if you have like extra brew and someone else is like on life support, you can give them the brew or the resort. I think this is fantastic. Okay, now, scavs. They're making it where scavs drop secondaries, like, on a consistent basis. It's like low amounts, but it's consistent. I think this is good, because now it's like you never get chanced on bad RNG. You know how many scavs you got to kill to get all your secondaries. So I think overall this is a good change. Again, it might be a bit annoying in masses, but I think this is great, because now it's like you know what you're going to get. You know how many scavs you got to kill. Alright, making plank stackable, I think this is good. I mean, it just means that you only need 1 space for making the chest. Now, shortcuts, I think it's fine speeding up binding and wood cutting. I think boulder will always be better, because you don't need the tools for it, but yeah. Alright, now this is the stuff that people really want to read, okay? Tekton. This has been a complaint for a long time. It's Tekton's defense. So they proposed a couple of solutions for it. The first one is making Elder Maul reduce Tekton's defense by 5%. So I don't know if that's like if you actually hit him, or it's just per hit, so like on misses too. But I think it would be a great buff for the Elder Maul. I think this is a fantastic buff. Heck, I could even see this being carried out of Chambers of Xeric and just put on the Elder Maul as like a passive, because it's a mega rare and it doesn't really feel like a mega rare. So having a buff like that, I think, would be kind of good. But again, I don't know how overpowered it would be. I'm just spitballing here. I think it would be a good way to buff the Elder Maul, but Okay, let's not sidetrack too much. Alright, the other solutions, Dragon Warhammer will always hit on the first spec. Tekton's defense reduced in his enraged form, and preventing Tekton's defense from resetting when healing at the anvil. Now, I think this one will do more justice than the other two. Not to say, like, they're bad changes, but here's the problem, right? Most people kind of try to play for the no anvil these days, so just having the guaranteed spec hitting would be great, but this is me with the assumption that they're only going to pick one out of the 4. Honestly, I would love to see, like, these two get added. Like, Elder Maul really needs a buff, but at the same time, it's just like, I feel that people will not be bringing the Elder Maul for, like, big team speedruns, so then it would just be like, oh, well, it's just kind of, you kind of don't really feel the buff in that sense, right? And in solos too, I don't know if it's worth the item slot. I mean, who knows? You could potentially replace the Ink Mace with it, but I don't do enough solos to really say. I feel like people would still want to run Ink Mace, so I think the Dragon Warhammer hitting on the first spec is going to be a better overall change for solos and for teams. But this is my 2 cents. I do hope that they do pick multiple and not just one, because I feel that Tekton defense really just sucks. So if they just overall added a bunch of changes to really nerf Tekton's defense, I think it'd be good. So I'm just hoping they explore multiple avenues and not just the one avenue. Alright, now, crabs preventing splashing. The most frustrating thing is splashing on the crab when you're trying to color it, because melee always hits, range always hits, or they always color, but you can splash on it and it doesn't color it. Now, good and bad. It's good because you'll never have to worry about splashing. You always know you're going to color it. Bad because there are actually methods that rely on you splashing on the crabs. Namely 45-second, 46-second crabs, where splashing instantly aggroes the crab. So I think that they should make it where you only splash, or you guarantee to splash when you're in that negative splash threshold, which I think is negative 64. But if you're above that threshold, you always hit. If they did that, we're golden. Like, we don't have to worry about that. But otherwise, this could be a bad change if you're like negative 64 and you're still like able to always hit. So hoping they don't just destroy the method altogether, make it where you can never splash. Only concern, but otherwise I would say this was a good change other than the 46-second crabs. This one's interesting. Removing the attack delay. So for those of you guys who pot like TOA, you guys know exactly what this is. For example, the skulls or hitting the jugs at the back, there is no attack delay, so you're able to attack, like, you know, every 1 tick. So I think this is great. I think that's good. Alright, Ice Demon. Make kindling stackable up to a cap of 28. So this means that instead of dropping like 2 items, you drop 3 items if you're doing CM5's Ice Demon, or just in general, because now you only need the 3 slots. You pick up your tinderbox, your axe, and then you just start chopping instantly. Just instantly start chopping. So I think this is great. I don't really see the negative in this at all. You just have to dump your kindling and then bank after that. But it will slightly speed up the room because now everyone can start chopping. Reduces the chance of trees dying too. Because think of it like this, right? You'll chop the trees beside the axe. And then you'll start making your way closer to the tree. Closer to, you know, where you actually want to light. So yeah, good change. And then the next one is reducing Ice Demon's magic defense. Yeah, it's pretty high in CM, so you'll kind of splash a lot, even when you hit a couple of specs. So honestly, yeah, I would agree with this. I think they should reduce the defense a little bit just so it actually gets shredded. Not sure. Wait, let me read this to make sure that they're not just dropping the magic level. Because the one concern I'd have, they lower the magic level, and now Kutiba doesn't hit anything on it. Because 2 options are typically just Tibo or Surge. But yeah, I think this is good. I think it's good to reducing the magic defense. Alright. The other one they wanted to do is adding secondary drops to Ice Demon. I think that's fine. I mean, I think it's fine. Not really much to talk about that. Okay. Grubs. So we're going to Phoebe now. So they're doing the same thing with the kindling, making grubs stackable. I think that it's good. Again, it would be the same thing like Ice Demon, where instead of hitting trees instantly, you would just be opening chests instantly. Let's say CM5s, finish Vanguards. Now the new plan is everyone kind of like just divert, you know, they just split it off. So everyone's opening chests, getting close to those like 4 chest clusters. And then once they get enough grubs, they just dump. So yeah, I think that's a good change, right? I think that's a really good change. It just means that people want to bring their lockpicks with them. So yeah, overall, I think it's a great change. And now it's like, okay, in CM5s, you might be worried because of space constraints. Well, no, because now you have, since pots show up for everyone, you can kind of have people help up with picking up pots. So yeah, I think that's good. I think this is great. I think it's fantastic having it where you could just start instantly defeaving. It'll speed up the room a little bit. And then the other one is guaranteeing a minimum of 1 grub obtained on successful chest openings, instead of it just being like, oh, sometimes you fail, sometimes you win. Yeah, I think it would really, really alleviate some pain in the room. Honestly, I would say, like, just make it where the minimum you get is your minimum. But that's just me. That's just my opinion on it. Honestly, getting out of that room as soon as possible would be good. I don't know if people would complain if they made it super fast. But, I mean, I personally think it would be great if it just, you got your minimum, so at 95 you get your 2. But even then, it's something. It's still better than what we have right now, so good change. Again, makes the room faster. Alright, now we're getting the Vanguards. They're standardizing the drops. So, this is great for solos and teams alike. Okay? In solos, the worst thing that could happen is you don't get restores. So this kind of balances out what potions you're going to get, because you're always going to get the same pots every time. The only thing that's still randomized is the overload amount. You'll get that guaranteed one. You might get 1 or 2. But as for the potions, melee drops 2 brews and the Elder Pot. Range Vanguard drops 1 brew, 2 revites, and twisted. And this is the weird part. Enhance now drops from the Mage Vanguard. I think that's good. I think that is pretty good. I have no complaints about that. But yeah, now you won't get cucked on restore in solos, and in teams, you don't have to really guess or like pay attention to just how much restore you got from Vanguards, because you know how many restores were got from Vanguards. So I think that's overall a good change. I think it's good to have the potions be static instead of random. Because like, for the most part, all of the bosses drop static pots. So yeah, I think this is a great change. Okay. Boss in this year dropping overload. No complaints. I think this is good. There have been times where we might have a death or 2. So just having more overload sources throughout the raid is good. And I think having Vasa dropping an overload would also be good for maybe speedruns, because now people can start overloading for the following rooms. Good change. This one was interesting. I wasn't expecting this. Adjusting Vasa's defensive capabilities, and they are doing 2 things, potentially. Okay? First one is reducing the range defense of both regular and CM Vasa. And the second one is adjusting Vasa's healing mechanics so that he only heals if you don't destroy coastal in time. So the second one is more beneficial if you don't have high DPS. So you're using a crossbow or blowpipe, this change will probably be better for you because of how long the fight's going to be. But for speedrunners, I think that just reducing the defense or the range defense overall is going to be great, because it'll boost. 1, it'll boost the odds of no crystals a lot more. And 2, I think that with, you know, just being able to hit more in general might even out or just be overall better than the second change. But again, I'm not too sure, because if your DPS is bad, that boss is going to heal quite a bit. So, not sure if they're willing to implement both of them. But yeah, if they have to choose one or the other, I'm probably going to side with reducing the range defense, because this is an overall change that's going to be good for like both parties. I would say it helps like the new players and the pro players. Sense. That's more for teams though. Maybe in solos the healing one might actually be better, but like I said, unsure. I think lower defense in general will make the room more consistent. Yeah. All right. So this is the other one that people hate, Muttadile. Okay, Muttadile is a very scary room. So let's talk about the variant. So they do the variants of meat tree. Dimitri. Okay, dude, really? Dimitri. Alright. So they want to talk about making it where it's more consistent. So instead of you rolling 0 to 90, they want to make it roll between 40 to 50. So it's more consistent, but you kind of lose out on that potential because now you can't roll as high. So the meat tree is going to be much more consistent when you're killing it. It's just not going to die like super fast or super slow. It's going to always be right down in the middle. I was like kind of, I was like kind of shocked to see this change or this suggestion, but I mean, I'm really not going to complain. Less variance is good, I guess. Okay. And now removing Muttadile's damage. This is another one I was kind of like surprised by, is removing the damage immunity. So once you drop its HP below 40%, if the mate tree's up, then he becomes immune. Either you have to wait like a whole 20 seconds, give or take, before the immunity's gone, or he eats 3 times and he's no longer immune. This brings into the question, what's going to happen now? Does that mean you could kill him? Does that mean you could just straight up kill him? Because if that's the case, then I could see the strategy in teams being, you just don't chop the tree anymore. You just freeze them. You just straight up freeze them. I already have some ideas of how you would go about this. One person would bring a ZGS and CM5s, and then Prep can bring Spellbook Swap and Ice Barrage, Small Mutt. So, yeah, I don't know if that's how they want it to work, because removing the immunity altogether and you're just able to just kill them would really speed up the room. It just means you don't have to go through all that chopping. So, yeah, I'm not sure. I bet this would be an alright change, but it would kind of feel weird. So, yeah, I'm not too sure about this. What do you guys think? This is one I'm kind of have to, like, get the thoughts of other people, because I feel like chopping the tree is kind of, like, not an essential part of the raid, but it's a nice skill set to have. Like, you know, trying to live, chop the tree, hit the Muttadile, not lose ticks, and just completely getting rid of that with Ice Barrage and ZGS, if I'm reading this correctly, is just kind of like, huh. It would change the meta, like, a lot. It would definitely change the meta. So, yeah, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure about this change. If people are happy with it, then I guess I'm happy with it, but otherwise it's like, I would still be kind of okay with, you know, how we have it now, instead of getting rid of the immunity. Okay. Reduce the damage taken by players in Muttadile. This is the big one people have complained about so much, because it is so easy to get destroyed in this room. Okay? Absolutely disgusting. You're on pace for something, you're dead. Because you just get destroyed, and there's nothing you can do about it. So, let's talk about the changes, or the potential changes. All right. 1, reduce your attack speed. That would just altogether reduce some of the damage you take. But I think the biggest issue is this guy is literally the LMS 10-13 champion, where you're not sure if he's going to range or mage you. And that's what really sucks. So, lowering the max hits would also be another way of just making them a little bit better. Just taking less damage. Increase the damage reduction would also be good. I mean, you're already protected against most of the damage when you're praying melee, so it'd just be range and mage. You take less damage if you pray correctly. And then lastly is making the attacks more predictable. I personally think that making the attacks more predictable is just better, because the unpredictability is what really cucks you. You might like pray correctly, or you think you're praying correctly, and the next thing you know is you just get like 50'd, 40, 50, and stepping away and all that stuff. So I just think making it more predictive would just be so much better, man. But like I said, with the other stuff they presented earlier, I'm not against them doing multiple of these changes. So I'm hoping they do like a combination, not just the one. Honestly, I would probably say these two, increase damage reduction and making it more predictable would be pretty good. So it rewards you if you're paying attention, and it doesn't reward you if you're not paying attention. But again, it's good that they're noticing that this is an issue, because you just get destroyed, man. Alright, let's go into Vespula. Add a guaranteed overload drop. No complaints. So with all these guaranteed overload drops in CM5s, you don't even have to pick Nox anymore, so it's just double play and boot you. So you don't have to make any more overloads. You don't have to worry about mixing potions. That is no longer a problem. I mean, the only issue is just, you might have to, what's the word? You might have to drop an overload for someone at thieving, but otherwise you don't have to mix an overload anymore. So it's just like one potion less that you have to pick up at Vanguards. Which makes up, if that thieving change makes it through where the grubs is stackable, that potion space will just, it gives you room for the lockpick now. So, no complaints. Tweak Vespa's mechanics without impacting the redemption method. This one I was, again, a bit surprised about, but let's quickly go over it. Okay. They say a joke here, but we're just going to skip that, okay? You want to make some adjustments to Vespa that might, you know, conventional sense, okay? Reduce the damage from Vespa's regular attacks poison, reduce the attack speed, or reduce the speed at which Vespine soldiers heal the Abyssal Portal, and increase the time taken for Vespine soldiers to grow. I think it's a good change. I think it's a overall good change. This technically does affect people doing the redemption method, because now you have more time to kill the portal before the dudes spawn. So, just just gives you more time to kill the shit. And if a bug does spawn, not a big deal. It's not a big deal at all. Good change. Okay. Now we're gonna go into Ulm, okay? This one is really frustrating. Add a cooldown between healing pool attacks during Ulm's final phase. Yeah, because I can spam it back to back sometimes, and it's really frustrating. So, good change. I think this is a fantastic change. And then in solos, limit the distance away from the player at which a portal can spawn during Ulm portals. Also good, so just making them closer is good. Because those are like really frustrating things in solos. Those who are trying to go for perfect, because if you mess up and you got a teleport or a portal like in Narnia, you're kind of screwed. So, I think these are good. I think these are really good. But yeah, that's pretty much all of the changes. Okay, so let me just go over my general thoughts. Like I said, I'm very happy that they're addressing a lot of the issues. And there's even more issues that I never really thought about. That, or not issues, but like good changes that I never really thought about. Like the stuff with the potions, letting everyone see the potions. That has always been kind of an inconvenience because I might get the melee Vanguard kill, and it's just, oh great, someone's got to run back from thieving and get the potions when they show up. So I think that's great. Kind of interesting to giving the Mage Vanguard enhance. I think that's obviously a general change in general. Or a good change, not general. Good change in general. And the other thing is I'm also hoping they're not just locked into one solution when they're proposing all of these different things they can do. I'm hoping to at least take like maybe 2 or 3 instead of just 1, because having those multiple changes I think would just make it so much better. And I don't think it would make the experience too much easier. I think the rooms would still be pretty difficult. I feel like each room has something that makes each room kind of difficult. It just makes it not so annoying, not so RNG heavy, because the worst thing that can happen is just you're on pace and then your pace is gone. And on top of that, just making the rooms feel better overall, I think it's just good. I think it's just really good, just making the rooms feel just better, because now it's like you're incentivized to scout and you don't have to worry too much about what the rooms are if all the rooms are good. Like, don't get me wrong, I still think that getting scouting changes and scaling changes are good, but I would much prefer if everyone just liked the rooms better, and doing these shorter changes would definitely help. All in all though, like if you're doing CM, this is just a great, this is great. Like this is fantastic, because all those rooms are getting faster and they're gonna feel better. So all in all, CM players rejoice. And I did mention the thing about the Elder Maul. I kind of would not be upset if this was the norm for the Elder Maul outside of Chambers. But again, I'm unsure how OP that would be. So, yeah, I'm unsure. But it's a mega rare, so I feel like it'd be fun to have like a passive like that. I think that Elder Maul needs a little bit of love, you know? I feel like it's a very unloved item. It's unloved, so it just needs a bit of love. But yeah, I don't know if there's anything else to really say. Like they've kind of pretty much hit the nails in the coffin for a lot of the issues and added more on top of it. They asked one more question in the survey, which was, what should they prioritize first? These changes or the scaling changes? I'm gonna be honest, if these changes should happen first. I don't know how big of a job the scaling stuff is compared to this. These feel like, I don't want to say they're easy to do because you have to like implement them and then you have to test it and stuff like that, make sure nothing breaks. But I think these, in theory, should take less time. And like I said, making the rooms just feel better in general is gonna do more good than just making where you can just find whatever raid you want, whether you pay money or not. So I think this is just gonna be a fantastic set of changes to Chambers of Xeric, assuming everything passes. But yeah, if you guys have any thoughts, I'm telling you right now, there's a survey. Go take that. Like, go straight to the OSRS page, go to the survey and take it. I'm also curious to hear what you guys, you know, have to say though in the comments. So feel free to drop your comments and let me know if you disagree with me or if you agree with me. But yeah, that's gonna be it for the video, guys. I hope you learned something, and I hope it maybe opened your eyes a bit on some, like, how these changes might affect stuff. But yeah, till next time, guys. Farewell.